I'm Dave Wiesdock, Sage of Creative Scaffolding.
And I'm Jen West, Professional Rebel of Delight.
And this is Shadowcasting. Welcome back, everybody. Today is Quote Day.
It's a quote day.
Oh, I'm so excited. So our quote today is from the famous Bruce Lee. I feel like he needs no introduction, right?
No introduction. If you don't know him, shame on you.
Exactly. Like everyone knows who Bruce Lee is. But if you don't, we'll leave it in your power to look him up.
Yeah, Google. I think you'll like him.
So here's the quote. If you always put limits on everything you do, physical or anything else, it will spread into your work and into your life. There are no limits. There are only plateaus, and you must not stay there. You must go beyond them.
Bruce Lee is the man. And if anybody can say that quote, it's Bruce Lee, because he did incredible things.
Yes. He always was testing his mind and his body.
Yeah, he even built his own martial arts. So way to go, Bruce Lee. But it does bring us about to ourselves. How much do we limit ourselves because we stay with what's known and what we're used to and the patterns we've seen? We're very scared to push beyond. We don't know how far, like where our actual limit is.
Yeah, you know what's interesting is that oftentimes limits aren't limits. They are our ego telling us where we haven't been before.
I like that.
Right? It's the idea that for me, the limit is what we've labeled as a discomfort we're not willing to lean into. And I think where Bruce Lee really strikes home with this or gets to the heart of it is that he had a vision that was limitless. And in our podcasts throughout the past couple of years we've been doing this, we've hinted at that, like, the vision is something that is really big, that grows, that morphs with you, that changes. And I always talk about this as somebody that values curiosity, that there's power in the brainstorming in the sense of when most people brainstorm, there's always somebody sitting there saying why it can't be done or this, that, or the other thing, and like pointing out the flaws in something. When you grow for yourself, when you are building the vision of who you want to become, those little limits that are presented are your ego going, this is something you haven't done before. And yeah, that's kind of why you're brainstorming and creating the vision for who you want to be. The challenge for us as humans is, do we go and accept those limits, or do we go, all right, how do I lean into this? How do I lean into the discomfort of where this block is happening, and how do I move through it? A great example is, and I've used this before on other analogies, but opening up your own business. There's a lot of new challenges that happen with starting your own business. And if you think of every roadblock that you come across as a limit, you're never going to get very far. But the thing is that most business owners go through those same quote unquote limits. And so then what you start to realize is that limits aren't meant to be there to prevent you from moving forward. They're there because your brain is literally like, dude, I haven't done this before. And you got to walk yourself through it. And so that's why I think it comes down to mindset and the vision. And it's, do you allow the limits to show up in your work, or do you allow yourself to lean into the discomfort and let that show up in your work?
That's a great way to put it. I also want to lean into when he says there are only plateaus and you must not stay there. And I think that's what stops us in a lot of stuff is we have momentum. Maybe we have beginner's luck and stuff happens quickly and it draws us in. Maybe you post a video and it gets 1,000 views, but then 5 videos down, you've only got 1 view on it. Or you're not getting any more views, any more likes, and you've just plateaued, you've stuck, you're not moving forward anymore. And that's not the limit. That's just where you need to reevaluate and change your model or iterate and see what next thing comes. So there's the plateau. And from that plateau, you either modify and then keep moving towards that limit and finding it, or you backslide. You're not going to stay at the plateau. You're not going to stay at the same place. You're either going to move forward or you're going to fall back.
And a lot of times, actually, I won't say a lot of times, there are times where that plateau is being challenged not by you, but by life. Sometimes you set a goal and you reach it. I'm going to make X amount of dollars, and you hit that goal. And then inflation hits, or someone loses their job, or you have an unknown medical expense that pushes you outside that plateau you were already on. And that's just kind of the nature of life. And I think that's why Bruce Lee is really profound here with saying there are no limits, because whether we self impose them or whether what we think are limits get challenged outside of us, it's how we choose to show up that directs the course of our life. That's why I think he says it'll spread into your work. I don't see that as the work of a job, but your work as in who you are, as in the vision of what you are trying to create. And so in life, you can either, like Jen was saying, settle or slide backwards, or recognize that it is a constant. Life is the ability to be consistent, regardless of whether you're in a plateau, a limit, or you're in growth. And that's going to show up in your character. That's what I'm trying to get to. This is about the character of who you are and how you want to show up.
Yeah. And an interesting thing that came to mind as Dave was talking about making money and getting to where you want to be financially, and you make that goal, that doesn't mean you need to see how much money can I make forever. You don't need to become that billionaire who's always collecting money. You can have self-imposed limits on things like this is enough. This is where I wanted to get to. But that doesn't stop you as a person from developing somewhere else. Like this amount of money serves me, helps my family, allows me to give to my community and live the life I want. And that's good. That's okay. That can stay there. And then other things change. So we want to make sure we're not just chasing something to see how far we can go with it, just to chase something. And I just wanted to put that out there because sometimes we get seduced. If we have so much money, then more money's better.
The other thing I was thinking of, since Bruce Lee was the martial artist and the physical guy, I think it's worth pointing out too that in exercise science and in that realm of the world, they even talk about this where if you were somebody that just goes and lifts weights after weights after weights after weights after weights, and like that is all you do, eventually you plateau. Your muscles stop growing. Now, you could do steroids. You can even change up how you work out. But I'm talking about the people that just go to the gym and do the same thing day in, day out. They're eventually going to plateau. And it's because the body's not being challenged in a new and different way. So what they find is that if you are very dynamic in how you train your body is able to adapt to different changes and will continue to sculpt in the way that you're envisioning. And I think that's true in life too. If we are constantly just building in one way and never being challenged, then we're going to stay in that plateau because there's no ability for us to go beyond where we already are. And that's not a limit. That's just a function of choice. And so this really does come down to taking action and building the character and cultivating the type of person you want to be.
Yeah, I think that covers it. I don't have anything else to add.
No, and I'm trying to think of a challenge. How's this for a challenge? Take something in your life that you feel comfortable in and see where you're at. Are you plateauing with it? Are you accepting limits where you're at currently? Or is there something poking at you, which there might be, of a way that you can grow beyond it? And what is one action or step that you can take to cultivate towards that new self that you're envisioning, or that next level?
That's a good one. Can't wait to see what people think.
Yeah. And as always, make sure to share out our podcast with your friends and family. Drop us a like. Leave us a comment. Let us know what you thought of this podcast, of the challenges. Let us know any quotes that you would like us to hit on in upcoming podcasts.
And until next time,
See ya.